In today's video, we are going to be looking more closely at atrioventricular valves, which you can abbreviate as AV valves. The atrioventricular valves are located between the atrium and the ventricle. We have two atrioventricular valves. The first is on the right side of the heart, which, remember, if you're looking at a heart, it would be your left, but the owner of the heart's right. So the right side atrioventricular valve is called the tricuspid valve. A good way to remember this is the R in the word tricuspid, reminding you that it is on the right side. On the left side of the heart, that valve is called the bicuspid valve. It is also called the mitral valve. For the purposes of my class, however, using the term bicuspid gives us a better idea of what it looks like. So when we say right side and left side, what does that mean? Well, if I wanted to draw a very, very simplified version of the heart, I would make it look like a square separated into 4 boxes. This is a good opportunity to quiz yourself. See if you can label the 4 chambers of the heart in the correct orientation. At the top left is my right atrium. Next to that, on the top right, is my left atrium. On the bottom left is the right ventricle, and the bottom right is the left ventricle. So because of the name atrioventricular, we know that the valves that we're going to be talking about have to occur between the atrium and the ventricles. And we know that we have one on the right side and one on the left side. So now I'm going to highlight the locations of these valves for you. The tricuspid valve is found here between the right atrium and the right ventricle. The bicuspid valve is right here between the left atrium and left ventricle. Now you may be wondering, why do we call them tricuspid and bicuspid? If you saw the roots tri and bi in the names for those valves, then you're on the right track. The word cusp, C-U-S-P, means flap. This means that the tricuspid valve, because tri means 3, has 3 flaps, and the bicuspid valve has 2 flaps. We won't be drawing it in this much depth, but I do want to show you what these flaps look like. Here is an image of a superior view of the heart, so looking down on the heart, from KenHub, which is a very valuable anatomy source that I highly recommend. In this image, the 2 smaller valves at the top are the 2 semilunar valves. These are the valves that prevent backflow of blood when the heart relaxes after a contraction. The atrioventricular valves are the 2 larger ones, here and here. The different cusps are easier to see from a top-down view. I've highlighted one of the cusps in the bicuspid valve, and that is the second cusp. For the tricuspid valve, I hope that you can clearly see there are 3 flaps or 3 cusps involved. See if you can figure out which side of the diagram is the person's ventral side and which side is the person's dorsal side. The tricuspid valve, because it has the 3 flaps, that's going to be on the right side. The bicuspid valve, because it has 2 flaps, is going to be on the left side. So if this image, this diagram, represented a human, the ventral side, or the front side, would be at the top. The dorsal side, or the back side, would be at the bottom. We can make simplified sketches of the superior view of both atrioventricular valves. For the tricuspid valve, I just make a circle with a peace sign. That shows that I have 3 flaps or cusps of about the same size. The bicuspid valve is a lot easier because all I have to do is make a bisected circle. In the next sketch that we make, we're going to have to show the valves in cross-section. This will allow me to better explain their anatomy and how these valves function in the human heart.